And joining me now to discuss the latest attack by Iran in the Middle East is former United States ambassador to the United Nations and author of the updated edition of The Room Where It Will Happen Again. Ambassador John Bolton joins us again. Good to have you back, my friend. So let's get into this.
Glad to be with you. We're
hearing all day long now that in response to the 3 military service people who were killed by these, this splinter group that's funded by Iran, that something will happen. Sir, what do you think will happen and what do you think should happen?
Well, I've listened very carefully to what the Obama administration senior officials are saying, and it looks to me like this will not be a raid on Iranian assets. It will be another attack on these Shia militia groups in Iraq. It may be bigger than some of the prior kind of pinprick responses, but it doesn't sound to me like it's really serious. And I think it's just a massive failure of the Biden administration not to hold the mullahs in Tehran accountable.
So, okay, that's what you think will happen. What should happen?
Well, look, Iran is directing all of the chaos in the Middle East today, from Hamas in the Gaza Strip to the Houthis to Hezbollah to these attacks on our service members. And until Iran pays a price, they're going to continue. Now, I'm not saying this has to be massive, but it has to impose pain on Iran to reestablish deterrence. I think we could do a couple of things. There are Iranian naval vessels in the Red Sea helping the Houthis fire drones and missiles at commercial traffic. We can sink those ships. We can attack any of a number of Iranian air defense units in the Persian Gulf region along the border with Iraq. They are all subject, I think, to being taken out. And then finally, bases inside Iran that our military for years has wanted to go after, because these are the bases where these Shia militia are trained and equipped. They've been armed with weapons that have killed hundreds of American service members over the years. It's high time to take them out. So these are not major sites in the first instance. We'll see how Iran reacts. But I think from the Iranian point of view, they're getting away with all of this in the Middle East for free, and that has to stop.
I would agree with you. You and I disagree on so many things, Ambassador. I think the audience knows it. They've watched this, debate over the years. I will agree with you. They've been getting away with too much for far too long. I would disagree with you on actually doing anything inside of Iran, hitting bases and things like that. What about this? There's a Karg Island. Karg Island is a shipping terminal in Iran. 90% of Iranian oil that's shipped goes through Karg Island. You could wipe out Karg Island. You could kill almost no civilians, no people at all. There's a picture of it right there. And you would choke their oil sales to a halt. And, the beauty of that, Ambassador, is that you're not actually destroying their ability to produce oil. Therefore, the rest of the world won't get mad at us for doing it because prices would go up. You're just stopping their ability to get it into the sea through the Strait of Hormuz, and then go ahead and patrol the Strait of Hormuz. If somehow they get a shipper, a tanker through into the Strait, you take the tanker and move it out. So why not something like that rather than risking all-out war with Iran?
Well, I don't think we're risking all-out war with Iran. I do think striking Karg Island is a good idea. It's actually a step up the escalation ladder than what I've proposed. Look, the Iranians tell us that attacking Iranian territory is a red line. Killing Americans is a red line, too, and they crossed it. I think that the Iranians are testing to see how far they can go. And to reestablish deterrence, I think they need to understand we simply will not accept this. So if my idea for the first strikes doesn't stop them, then I think going after their oil infrastructure, not just Karg Island, but some other locations as well, going after their nuclear and ballistic missile programs, and going after, at that point, Revolutionary Guard command and control operations. We don't want a wider war, that's clear. But I'll just put this to you. If we're going to have a confrontation with Iran, would you rather have it now or after they get nuclear weapons?
Now. But I don't want one either way. I don't want one before or after. And I think that economically you can choke them. Iran went through some hard times. Why should we be spending $3 billion a year supporting the United Nations? Sir, call me a moron. Call me an idiot. what do we get in return for our $3 billion a year, or 27% of their budget? What do we get in return?
Well, a lot less than we should, that's for sure. The UN is a big, complex organization. That's one reason it's such a mess. We do get value out of some parts of it. I would fundamentally change the way we fund the UN, and I've believed this for quite some time. You know, right now we pay under a system of what's called assessed contributions. It's like a tax on the United States. We pay 22% roughly of the UN budget. I would say we're not paying 22% anymore. We'll pay where we think we get value. And there are agencies, specialized agencies, where we do.
Where, can you tell me?
And if the rest of the members...
Just give me one or two things that we get for our billions.
Well, for example, the World Intellectual Property Organization helps maintain standards for intellectual property. We have the International Telecommunications Union that's very useful to us. It's the agencies you don't hear anything about, the International Maritime Organization, the International Civil Aviation Organization. These are agencies we should fund. The vast bulk of the bureaucracy of the UN, I don't think we get anything out of. I said a long time ago, you know, the UN Secretariat building in New York, that very famous building, has 38 stories. And if you lost 10 stories tomorrow, it wouldn't make a bit of difference.
Or 30, and just keep the, bottom 8, or maybe the basement. Ambassador, your book, I read your 18-page foreword. You take some shots at Trump. Tell us why you believe a second term of Trump would cause a lot of international problems.
Well, I don't think Trump operates from a basic philosophy. He doesn't do policy. And I think what he's indicated both during his first term and in the 3.5 years since then is he would do things that would be very damaging to American national security, possibly withdrawing from NATO, abandoning Taiwan to whatever the Chinese have in mind for it. I think he would support Putin's position in Ukraine. I'm very worried, frankly, what his position in the Middle East would be, because he won't be running for re-election to a third term since he can't get it. These are all questions that he has not thought through and doesn't think through. North Korea's nuclear weapons program. I mean, there's a long list of potential dangers.
But we do have to admit that under the 4 years of Trump, there was far more peace in the Middle East. We didn't have to worry about North Korea. He called Putin a friend, and Putin wasn't attacking anyone or spreading his dictatorship anywhere else into any potential United Nations countries, NATO nations. Maybe there's something, he's got something here. No, Ambassador?
Well, let's take Iran just as an example. What we did, it was his decision, of course, that was right, was we got out of the Obama 2015 Iran nuclear deal, which was a terrible deal. We imposed sanctions, heavy sanctions, not heavy enough, but heavy sanctions on Iran. And when it came down to it, Trump was prepared to order the early exit of Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Quds Force. That was the right thing to do. It was the display of American power that kept Iran in its place. But at the same time, he came very close to meeting the Iranian foreign minister, Javad Zarif, in August of 2019. I don't know what he would do in a second Trump term. And it's that uncertainty I think voters need to consider. I'm not defending Biden on any of this. He's as bad or worse in his performance than I think Trump would be.
Would you suggest that Nikki Haley would be a better choice than Donald Trump on a foreign policy stage, at least?
Yes, I would. I mean, look, Eric, I would vote for a cardboard cutout over Donald Trump. I hope what Haley does is stay in the race until the convention to keep open the possibility. We need to know in August of this year whether Trump's going to have been a convicted felon in some of these criminal cases, which I think, would cripple his chances of winning in November. So the party needs to keep its options open. Nikki Haley's candidacy may provide that.
All right. We're going to leave it there. There are many of us who would disagree. Ambassador John Bolton, author of the updated edition of The Room Where It Will Happen Again. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, and thanks for reading it, Eric.